What a week. The Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers make it to Week 16 game day, but not before adding a number of starters to an already crowded COVID list. You're looking live at specialists warming up. They will be without kicker Kaimi Fairbairn today, the Houston Texans, that is. And last night, a few more players made it off the COVID list and back onto the active roster for today's game against the Chargers. The Chargers, they're going to be without a number of their star players, Joey Bosa, and offensive weapons in Austin Eckler and Mike Williams. So what does that mean for today's active rosters? We've got those answers, projected starting lineups, plus a one-on-one with the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, Traymon Smith. Texans Unlimited, presented by Verizon, starts now.
We are ready to rock in Houston.
Touchdown, Houston! Are you kidding? What a catch. Oh, baby.
Welcome into Week 16 here at NRG Stadium. The Houston Texans hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Both teams have had a number of transactions this week. It's been really, really hard to actually keep up with. So we are going to get you up to date because the Texans at one point had drew as many as 23 players on that active COVID list. That number has gone down some. And then we've got 11 practice squad guys that have been elevated for today's game. So a lot of unexpecteds, a lot of unknowns for today's game against the Chargers.
It's bananas. That's the story of the week. There's no question about it. Who's out and who's in. And both these teams are affected in a titanic way. I mean, maybe the Chargers don't have as many guys total out as the Texans do, but they're going to be without Austin Eckler, who's caught or run for 17 touchdowns combined this year. They also don't have Mike Williams. He's caught 964 yards worth of passes, 7 scores of his own. So they still have a very potent offense, but it's a little less potent without some of those weapons. And, they don't have their best player on defense. Maybe their best player on their team is Joey Bosa on the defensive side of the ball. So it is going to be an interesting matchup between these two teams. Who's in, who's up, like we mentioned. We talk about practice squad guys. Basically, the Texans brought their entire practice squad
because they can do it now during
the active
COVID
roster. Yeah, so this is wild.
Yeah, and the inactives list for the Chargers, which we'll get to later, is a little bit funny as well because
it doesn't
strange times during COVID, but a lot to keep up with. So let's get into some of your quick hits of the week, the top stories. Buried in all this is the fact that quarterback Davis Mills is coming off his first career NFL win. He did so last week at Jacksonville. He'll get his 9th start today. Davis Mills says that not only is the game slowing down for him, but he's recognizing more and more coverages.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just the experience from the reps I've already started to build up this season and in college. Those looks that kind of get deposited into the memory bank, and you can pull from that once you see it on the field. So the Jags showed up on the first drive of the game where I ended up we got the delay of game when I was trying to get to a cover zero check just because I communicated a little slower than I needed to. We ran out of time on the play clock, and then immediately once I saw it when they brought it back later in the game, I was able to get to that check and hit a big play on them. So things like that just get deposited into the memory bank. You're able to pull from that, and that just comes with experience.
And Davis Mills threw both of those touchdown passes last week to Brandon Cooks, the Texans' leading offensive weapon. He will not be active for today's game. He was placed on the reserve COVID list earlier this week. He was just 55 yards shy of another 1,000-yard receiving season. Offensive coordinator Tim Kelly was asked about Cooks and how the Texans can fill a big, big void like him today.
Yeah, fortunately for us, we've got good receivers on this roster with Nico, with Chris, with Chris Moore's come in and made good plays for us. Obviously, you look at Phillip coming in and making a couple plays for us here the other day. So we definitely have guys that are capable and able of being able to step up and make plays. And obviously we'll have to wait and see who we have available for us. And like I said, we're going to put our guys in the best position possible to go out there and win those matchups and put us in a spot to go out there and score points. So obviously we'll have to see, what cards we're dealt, and then we'll make sure we're adjusting appropriately.
The other leading scorer from last week's win against the Jaguars was kicker Kaimi Fairbairn. He added 12 points, including 3 field goals, 2 from over 50-plus yards. He won't be active for today's game. He's also on the reserve COVID list. The Texans signed Dominic Eberle to the practice squad. They activated him for today's game. And special teams coordinator Frank Ross talked about what a big, big operation it's going to be for the kicking unit.
Yeah, so Dominic Eberle's here. Okay, so, he'll be assuming those duties until further notice. And, confident in whoever we bring in, we're going to do our best as a team to support them. No different than if a receiver gets elevated or a linebacker gets elevated from practice squad and played in the kicking game last week. The scheme is going to tailor around, making everybody be put in a position where they can succeed. We're going to have a heavy lean on Cam Johnston and Jonathan Weeks to operate cleanly, put it or snap the ball, put it down right where it's needed, and make make his opportunities as clean as possible. So we're confident in whatever we do, we'll be good to go.
All right, we've teased about it all show long, so let's get into today's inactives for both teams. Let's start with the Houston Texans, Drew.
Yeah, put a big asterisk on everything you're seeing today because there's so many guys that have come up, come down, that it's kind of confusing to everyone involved. So the big names there, Terrence Mitchell is your best defensive back. He had come up off of the COVID list yesterday, still not going to be well enough, I suppose, to play. He's inactive. Neither will David Johnson. He's still kind of banged up with the hamstring leg injury. And then Danny Amendola was another guy who had come off the IR. Well, didn't have COVID, but he comes up off the IR yesterday. He's not going to go for the Texans either. Carson Green, who he's a rookie offensive lineman, and he was really good at Texas A&M, and he kind of has a haircut and a beard, looks like a lion. He's not going to play today. But those are the big names. Deshaun Watson, neither will go. But listen to this list. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys who were pulled up off of the Texans practice squad today are active, DP. I mean, you've got names like the kicker, Dominic Eberle, who was born in Nuremberg, Germany, grew up in Redondo Beach, California, kicked at Utah State, ping-ponged on and off the Las Vegas Raiders roster this summer, and now he's going to be in an NFL game, his first NFL game in the regular season. He's a go. You got a guy who was a captain in the Marine Corps. He spent 6 years as a Marine. He's got a brother playing in this game across the field. He's got another brother who was a Texan for a long time. This is a Quessenberry, one of the 3 who are in the NFL. Paul Quessenberry is the guy playing for us. He is a fullback. He is active today. So fun to see him, see if he gets on the field.
You might see 2 Quessenberries because the Chargers are without their starting center, Corey Linsley, and Scott Quessenberry is next man up on their roster. But, for the Texans, not on that list, which is good news, tight end Brevin Jordan, because last week he did not play. He was active, though. He didn't play because of the hand injury. You hope to see him out there today. You hope that the hand has had a week of rest, and, he tweeted about it earlier that it's game day, so hope to see him out there. And Justin Reed, who was battling with the concussion last week and wasn't able to go. Your secondary gets a big, big boost with seeing number 20 back out there on the field.
A lot of boosts because we didn't bring up these names. Terrence Brooks, veteran safety, he's going to play. Well, he's active. Christian Kirksey, basically your captain on defense at linebacker, he's back. He'll play. Jacob Martin, huge, huge loss if you don't have him. He will get into the game. He was on the COVID list very briefly, tested out, and he's set to play. Also, your offensive line, DP, is bolstered a little bit by the addition of Justin McCray. He's one of like
great
a few
swing
guys,
guard.
Yeah, he's one of a few guys with
center.
experience. That's played for this team this year. So he's active, as is DeMarcus Walker, defensive lineman. Good to have him back. He's been out for about a month now, so he's back as well.
Yeah, you see the players warming up there on the field. Cameron Johnston did not make the Pro Bowl, is having quite a season. He pinned some really nice punts last week against the Jaguars. So between him and Weeks, you heard Frank Ross talk about it. They've got a new kicker in Eberle. And then there's your receiving core. I mean, Davis Mills is going to have to do it today. He's going to have to do it without Brandon Cooks, but he gets Nico Collins out there. He's got Conley out there. He's got Chris Moore. He's got Philip Dorsett. And you hope that between all those receivers, they are able to put up some points against one of the league's top scoring offenses out there in the Chargers.
Yes, and Jalen Camp is a name that most people are probably not familiar with, Texans-wise. He's a rookie out of Georgia Tech. He got pulled up from the practice squad yesterday. So Davis Mills, like we said, going to go into work today with a new crew of helpers around him, DP.
Yeah, and let's get into some of your questions from fans that are coming in from everywhere.
Yeah, we got one from Joe in the UK. We got Javari in Miami. But let's lead things off with Andy. I'm known by Andy, or known as Andy, with a lot of my family and friends from a while ago. And Andy wants to know, what uniforms are the Texans wearing today? And DP, I think this is the best set of uniforms that's not battle red.
Yeah, the Color Rush uniforms, the unis are undefeated. I think every time the Texans have played in them, they've won big games. So hopefully they've got a nice streak going. And, we were just asked about it, I think, a few weeks ago. When are they going to wear their Color Rush unis? And this is the first time they'll get to wear it today. For this season will be today against the Chargers. And it is Deep Steel Sunday, so everyone's wearing their Deep Steel Blue. Joe wants to know, is Brandon Cooks playing? Joe, in case you missed it, he is on the reserve COVID list. He is out for today's game. Logan says, who is the next man up at wide receiver? Will Nico Collins be Davis Mills' main target?
He could be, but look out for Philip Dorsett, DP. I mean, Philip Dorsett came up with that big 33-yarder last week. He also got Chris Conley. He's a veteran. Could he get some more targets his way? But I wouldn't mind seeing Nico get more targets today than he has in the past. What about you?
It could be him. It could be a tight end. I mean, I think that Davis Mills has a really nice chemistry with some of these rookies out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Nico. He also has a great chemistry with Brevin Jordan, who is just a red zone target. I think both of those guys, any of those guys really would be big to step up. Also, Chris Moore. Whenever Chris Moore is out there, he's dependable. He's like a veteran guy, and I think that's something that Davis Mills likes about those veteran receivers, is that you know where they're going to be all the time. That's what he really appreciated in Brandon Cooks, and I think Chris Moore sort of fits that role in that sense, that he's just been out there. He's run so many routes, and he's super dependable, and there you see him warming up number 15 there. All right, Adam wants to know, how can the Texans take advantage of Joey Bosa's absence? I mean, I think that's a tremendous loss for that Chargers defense.
It's massive. I mean, I think he's their best player, and they've got superstars on this team, and I think he's the super duperest of the superstars. Joey Bosa is an absolute game record, man. He has 20 quarterback hits. He leads them in sacks, I think, with 7.5. I mean, he is a pain in the you-know-what to deal with, and he's in your backfield, whether it's this team, the Texans, whether it's the Chiefs. I mean, he gets after the quarterback and really wreaks havoc. He is a real big loss for them. So just him not being out there, that works in your advantage. That's something you can do as far as maybe going in the run game. I don't know. Can this finally happen for the first time since maybe week 1? Can the Texans finally get something going on the ground? It's going to be tough, but no Bosa makes it not as tough.
I feel like Bosa is one of those guys that offensive coordinators have to game plan around the entire week. And the fortunate thing about it is that we knew early on in the week that Bosa wasn't going to play. So you didn't even have to worry about him as far as a game plan. Now, of course, the other guys in the lineup, you got to worry about them. I mean, the Chargers still have a pretty strong front there, but you don't have to worry about a guy like Nick Bosa getting after your quarterback. And I think that Davis Mills is handling pressure a little bit better. He's handling blitzes better. But, I mean, it's really quite a matchup to see Bosa up there against any quarterback, rookie or not. All right, Alex says, what's the key to containing Justin Herbert? That's a great question, because Justin Herbert, I mean, I was talking about how he does not look like he's a second-year player. He's thrown for over 30 touchdown passes in his first 2 seasons. No other NFL player has even done that. And he doesn't really throw a lot of interceptions either, and he seems to perform really well when there's a lot of pressure coming at him. So I think that's a tall task. I think that no matter who is on the COVID list for the Chargers, the fact that Justin Herbert is out there today, I mean, that's the biggest challenge of all out there.
It sure is, and he still has Keenan Allen, who is the lead dog at receiver. I mean, that's a guy that's already got 1,000 yards receiving. He is one of the best in the league and has been one of the best in the league for a long time. You're going to have a lot to contend with that little duo right there. And there's nothing little about him. I don't know why I said they're little. Yeah, he can spread the ball around, and he's still got his main guy there. So Justin Reed, thank goodness that he's back and he's active, because he'll be at the back end, hopefully keeping the play in front of him and making things happen in that way. But, yeah, I mean, you're not going to shut Justin Herbert down. I mean, he's savvy enough and good enough now as a young player that he's going to get his, but you just want to make sure you can limit it and make sure you can drop him, because this offensive line is also, for the Chargers, is also ravaged and not what it was earlier in the season. So perhaps Jacob Martin can get a sack or two. Perhaps you can drop him, because he's been dropped for a sack at least multiple times over the last month and a half or so. So they've had their problems protecting him. Maybe you get a turnover or takeaway off of that.
A takeaway would be nice. A touchdown would be nice, like on special teams, like the Texans did last week. 98-yard touchdown return by Traymon Smith. He was named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Our very own Drew Doherty here got a chance to catch up with him.
This pregame interview is powered by Reliant. Drew Doherty with a guy who's having a pretty darn good week. It's Traymon Smith. You play corner. You had an excellent week on special teams, the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Let's start right there. I'm guessing this has been a lot of fun, and you've heard from a lot of folks that you don't normally hear from, right?
Right. It's crazy. Everybody's hitting me up, but gotta love it though.
Yeah. Okay, you score that first touchdown, and that in and of itself probably wins you the award. But on top of that, you down a punt at the 4-yard line, and the defense responds with a 3-and-out and really kind of helps seal the game. You also start the second half by dropping Jadon Mickens at the 14-yard line. Big play there as well. And then on your second kickoff return, you did some damage. You punished some guys, and you bring the ball out to the 33. You and that performance, it was really kind of encapsulating of everything you guys did across the board special teams-wise. You said it was a near-perfect game. What was it like being kind of the tip of the spear on that regard?
It was fun. Anytime I can go out there and perform for my teammates, I'm willing to do so, whether it's a gunner rep, if I got to go in as a reserve at corner, kickoff return, just anything. I'm willing to do anything to help the team. So I feel like I showed that this past Sunday and willing to show it on here on out.
Yeah, how do you build on that individually? I know wins are the main goal, and you guys want to win every game you play, but on an individual basis, how do you build on this? What do you set as goals the rest of the way?
I would love to get back in the end zone, of course, and just like I said, just anything I can do to help the team just perform well and win the games. That's all it comes down to me.
Yeah, and with all those heroics on special teams, you actually were out on the field on defense, made a tackle, part of a really good effort there. What do you guys need to do against a high-powered Chargers offense this week?
We got to just they got a good quarterback over there, great young quarterback and a good receiving core. So we just got to keep the ball in front of us as a defense perspective. Special teams, we got to go out there and dominate. I feel like we have the upper hand on them on special teams. So we go out there and win that phase, and it can jumpstart our offense and defense.
Yeah, what separates Justin Herbert from other QBs you've seen this year?
I think his deep ball. He has a good deep ball, and he has the receiver that go high pointed within Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So he does a great job throwing the deep ball, and he doesn't force things too much. He'll take his check down and trust his guys to make some plays. So we just got to keep the ball in front of us and make our tackles.
The way you guys are playing now as a special teams unit, how much have y'all grown, you think, overall from maybe week 1, week 2 in the early part of the season?
Yeah, we all new pieces out there, and we actually had a bunch of guys from the practice squad up on special team this past week. So, they still come to practice hard like they're the starters each and every week. So that's why we was just so confident going into that game, and I'm always confident in my blockers or whoever I'm running down there with kickoff or my opposite gunner, no matter what. So we have faith in all these guys, and we know we all can perform at a high level.
Yeah, you just brought up an interesting point, and you did it after the game on Sunday, talking about some of those young guys like Veazey, Strahan. That's the first time they ever even suited up in an NFL game.
Right.
Yet they come out there and they do what they did. How impressive is that in its own right, where we are in the season and what those guys are doing, those young guys?
That's a great job to them. Just it showed coaches that they was ready the whole time, and they just needed their opportunity. And when they got the opportunity, they performed really well. Veazey got a couple offensive snaps. 53 Connor, he was out there a lot too. So it was just good to see them actually take their opportunity, take advantage of their opportunity.
All right, let's see how you're powering game day. It's noon kickoff at NRG Stadium. So with that in mind, what time are you going to sleep at night?
I'm in bed probably like 8:30, like right when we get done with meetings, like laying around. I'll watch some football if some football on or something like that. But I try to be asleep by like 10:30 for sure.
Yeah, and then when do you wake up?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yes.
So you get a good 9-10 hours of sleep almost.
Yeah, I try to get all the sleep I can and make sure my legs are well rested.
There you go. And what do you eat before the game?
2 scrambled eggs with onions and peppers, a little guacamole on the side, French toast, strawberries, and then I have a little protein shake I drink in the morning.
Okay. All
Pretty
right.
routine. That's been for the past 15, 16 weeks as well. So
Okay,
Kind
so
of getting old by now.
something this year. That's how you started doing it, huh?
Yes. I'm pretty
Okay.
routine when it comes down to my food. I like having certain things on a certain day. So kind of can say I'm picky.
Nothing wrong with that. You like what you like. You know,
Like
you want
what
to
I
get
like.
prepared.
Exactly.
All right. Finally, what are you listening to pregame musically?
A whole lot of Future, Little Dirt, and Lil Baby. That's probably my top 3 right now.
Those are the 3, huh?
Those are the 3, yes, sir. They get me going. They get me ready to run, go hit somebody, all that.
There you go.
Sure.
Well, we'd love to hear it. We're happy for you. Last thing, we know you want a win from Santa Claus, but what else would you like for Christmas?
I think I want a new car. I think it's about time for a new car. So hopefully I can get this new car here soon.
Good stuff. Well, we hope you're rolling in the car that you like very, very soon, like you're talking about. Traymon Smith, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck against the Chargers. And we'll see you again very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Traymon Smith signed a contract extension earlier this month, already delivering on it. He's quickly becoming one of my favorites, Drew. You had a chance to catch up with him. I caught up with him on the Deep Slant. He was on the Houston Texans Player Show presented by Fuddruckers, and I'm glad to see that he's going to be around for another year at least. Love to see what he's doing in that kick return game. But let's turn our attention to our projected starting lineups. This is a huge projection considering there are so many players out on the COVID list. But let's first take a look at your offense. You've got quarterback Davis Mills. You've got Rex Burkhead and Royce Freeman without David Johnson in. He's still battling the quad injury. Wide receivers Nico Collins and Chris Conley are your starters with Brandon Cooks out. And you've got tight end Farrell Brown. Now your offensive line, that's where things get a little murky. You've got Jaron Christian Sr. at left tackle because Titus Howard is out. You move Justin McCray to left guard. You've got Jimmy Morrissey in at center because Justin Britt is out. Max Sharping filling in at right guard. And then Charlie Heck, who's just a staple there at right tackle, which is really nice to see. The second-year player, that is one position that we sort of always know is going to be held down on the right side.
He's been there pretty much all season long, so kudos to him. That's the starting offense. Want to check out the defense? Well, got a few names you might not have recognized before, namely Xavier Williams there in the middle. He's going to be up front with Ross Blacklock and Jacob Martin. Thank goodness Jacob Martin is able to make it to game day. DeMarcus Walker also in line to start. He's a veteran, so that's a pretty experienced group to a degree. And then you got Neville Hewitt, Christian Kirksey, and the guy highlighted, Garrett Wallow. What a game he had last week. 11 tackles. I was tied with Tavier Thomas for the team lead. It's a lot of T's. But he also got a sack. He is getting a lot of defensive snaps because he's done it on special teams all season long. He's been a contributor there. So basically the entire rookie class contributing at this point. And then King, Thomas, Reed, and Brooks, not as racked as you thought you were going to be in the secondary because of COVID. So you got some good names back to help out and maybe stem the tide there.
Yeah, a little bit more fortified than it was last week against the Jags. I guess that's the silver lining in all this is that you get to see a lot of young players out there. They get some meaningful snaps and reps, even practice squad guys that normally wouldn't have had a chance if it wasn't for guys getting placed on that reserve COVID list. All right, it'll be something to watch as the game starts here. It's going to get underway in just a little over 30 minutes. That's going to do it for Texans Unlimited, presented by Verizon. Check out HoustonTexans.com for all the coverage. You can catch the game on CBS and on Sports Radio 610. He's Drew Doherty. I'm DP Sidhu. Thank you so much for watching on behalf of Tyler Marcotte, who runs this show. Have a great game day, and as always, go Texans.